All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our respiratory therapy virtual session. We are happy to answer all of your questions regarding our respiratory program, and we really are thankful that you're joining us tonight. Joining us tonight is Dr. Lisa Fuchs, who is our program director. Dr. Fuchs, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
My camera is on too, but I don't know why it's not working.
I can see you.
Oh, okay. Hi, and welcome to our evening to learn more about respiratory therapy and the possibilities at Nebraska Methodist College.
Great, thank you. And my name is Michelle Olson. I am the Associate Director of Enrollment Services here at the college. And I am also the admissions contact for you when you apply for our respiratory programs. So thank you for joining us tonight. I am going to next walk us through the next 45 minutes to an hour and going over our agenda and housekeeping. I like to let everybody know that we are recording this session so that we can share with those who weren't able to attend with us tonight. We are also going to chat about the format and the structure of the respiratory programs, as well as some highlights. And we will also answer some of your commonly asked questions. We are going to walk through the admissions process and all of the requirements. And we will also touch on some financial aid opportunities and additional grants that may be available. We do encourage you to submit any questions either through our chat or through our Q&A button, and we will address those towards the end of the presentation. And then just to let everybody know, since we are recording, everybody attended will be in listen-only mode, and we are just going to get started. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the college. All we do here at Nebraska Methodist College is healthcare programs. So we offer over 40 areas of study, which include nursing, allied health professions such as respiratory therapy, and healthcare management. We have been in the business of education for 131 years. We started in 1891, and we're very proud of that, that we focus on healthcare programs. We are a small college. We have a little over 1,100 students currently enrolled, which means we also have a small student to faculty ratio, which we are very proud of that. We will talk about pricing. We really try to keep our costs down for our students, and we will go over that when we get to the admissions portion of our presentation. We also are we offer community partnerships throughout all of our programs. There's a lot of work that they do out in the community helping others, and that's part of what is important to us here at the college. We do not require an ACT score. It is optional, and we will chat a little bit more about that in a bit. All of our on-campus students also receive an iPad to use while they were here enrolled in our programs here at the college. And we are affiliated with the Nebraska sorry, I can't talk today. We are affiliated with the health system with Nebraska Methodist Health System hospitals, which includes our main campus Methodist Hospital, as well as Women's and Council Bluffs and Fremont locations. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Fuchs, and she's going to give you an overview of the respiratory therapy program and its highlights. So welcome, Dr. Fuchs.
Thank you, Michelle. Over the last 3 years and counting, we've had 100% job placement of all graduates. We just had a class graduate in May of 2022, and they had 100% placement as well. The fourth year of the bachelor's degree is 100% online, and you can choose between 2 advanced tracks for your bachelor degree, either education and research or healthcare management and leadership, and we'll talk about those soon. The board pass rates, I can add one more to that. In 2022, it's 100%. So in 2022, our graduates just graduated first week in May and then took their boards the week after, and we have 100% to add to this PowerPoint. Okay. Programs of study. The associate is a 24-month COARC accredited associate degree program. The first year is prerequisites, and then the second year is a advanced curriculum. So where other schools you might have curriculum for 2 years to get your associate degree, we have that wrapped up nicely into 1 year, and it's you do need to be disciplined and focused during that year, because it goes fast, which is good because you get to work quicker. We have another program, which is the dual degree associate plus bachelor's. So essentially the first 2 years, you're enrolled in both prerequisite associate and bachelor degree courses. The third year is all respiratory and clinical. And after that third year, you sit for your boards and apply for your license, and you start working. So that's what I was just talking about with the recent graduates. Then most of them take a couple weeks off, and then they come back for that final year, the last year, and they can start their new careers or new jobs. And then they are working while they're completing that fourth and final year of the bachelor's degree, which is all online. And then finally, we have the respiratory therapy program, which is called RRT to BSRT. And that is for the working therapist that wants to come back to school and complete their bachelor's degree. And again, it's great for the working therapist because it's 100% online. And this can be done anywhere in the country this final year. I want to stress that you don't have to live in Nebraska to do the online degree completion. Respiratory therapy, dual AS and BS degree. This is just talking a little more about it. Again, the associate is a 24-month. You can either come and just do the associate degree, and some examples of that would be is if you already have a bachelor's in sports science or chemistry or some other sciencey or math type degree, you would be a good candidate to come, for that 2-year time and finish up your prerequisites and then the year for the associate. So it may not be 24 months if you're coming in with another bachelor's, right, Michelle? Because you might have other sciencey things. So it might look more like 15 months, depending on what you can transfer in.
Yep.
And then again, you would have to, after that professional year, you'd get your associate, and then you'd sit for your boards. And there's a written part of your board, and then there is a clinical part of the board. So it's a 2-part. The dual degree is great. This is a degree that we're seeing a lot of recent high school graduates. This has been very popular, I would have to say, with coming right out of high school. And it's truly a bachelor's degree, like a 4-year bachelor's degree, only they get to work a year sooner. And I think we're seeing a lot of students, Michelle, aren't we, recently, that maybe they took some college classes in their last year of high school, and again, they can progress a little bit quicker.
Yep.
And then the education and the research or healthcare management and leadership, these concentrations are built for the future needs, current and future, for the profession. And here we have it, a list of them. So this would be looking at the curriculum for an associate degree, or for the 3+1 bachelor's. You're looking at year 1, fall and spring. Some of the bachelor courses that are in here that are in addition to the associate would be things like public speaking, ethics, and research. So those are a few of the bachelor degree or bachelor's courses that are sprinkled through that first 2 years. And then if you look down at summer semester, that's where you start that professional year. So you have summer, fall, and spring, or May to May, and then you walk away with your associate degree. And then finally, that 4th year. So either this is the +1 on the 3+1 or the bachelor's degree, or this would be the curriculum for someone practicing that wants to come back and complete their degree. And so the education and research track is something that I'm sorry, I'm just going to be transparent. I have a 2-year-old golden doodle here that wants to assist me tonight, so I apologize. He's kind of a Zoom meeting dog. He doesn't understand, so I apologize. But the education and research track, really what you're doing is you are building and layering the classes to build an actual program at the end. So you would be building a program, say it could be maybe one with emphysema patients to decrease readmission into the hospital. So you're going to create a support group, for instance. So every course that you're taking is in order for a reason, so that at the end you're putting together a proposal for to talk to your leader or supervisor. And then on the right is the healthcare management leadership track, and it has some of the same courses as the education, but it's truly for someone that maybe wants to be a supervisor, a manager, a leader. You could do like sales of equipment, that kind of thing. The most popular of the two, in case you're wondering, is the education and research, I would have to say. It's a little more well-rounded, and you could still do some of the same things as the healthcare management, but it's a little more, it's broader, where the other one is focused more on leadership and management.
Great. Dr. Phipps, can you talk a little bit about the bachelor's and kind of how the career track is changing as far as the bachelor's program?
Yes, they do want, when I say they, it's our accreditation, want 80% of therapists to have a bachelor's by 2030. It was 2020, and now it's 2030. The things that we're doing clinically and even professionally or management-wise are higher skill level, and nursing went through something like this a few years back, where they moved to a bachelor's in nursing. So we're kind of following that suit with that. And also Local as well as national hospitals will pay more usually for a bachelor's degree versus an associate. So you're going to earn more money and have more opportunities for growth. So who are we and what do we do? Well, it changes every year, especially with COVID, but we every day can look different, and that's the intriguing part of a respiratory therapist. So a day in a life may include performing diagnostic testing on patients with lung disorders. One thing that's unique to a therapist in a lot of institutions is when you have a patient load for the day or your assignment for the day, typically with a nurse, you're going to stay on one floor and you have a group of patients, where as a respiratory therapist, you may have multiple floors or multiple units. So you're out there doing different things like diagnostic testing in a pulmonary function lab. You're interviewing patients and you're doing chest physical exams and auscultating or listening to their lungs. You're consulting with physicians because you are the expert with the lungs, and you're recommending and building trust with new therapies based on your evaluation of the patient. You're analyzing breath, tissue, and blood specimens. Yes, you do draw blood. And when I entered the field, I do not like needles. Don't come at me with a needle, but I learned very quickly that I can poke someone else and be just fine. So we draw that blood to analyze their oxygen, their carbon dioxide, and many other values. And one thing that I have a background in, I have a certification in tobacco treatment from Mayo Clinic, and I enjoy educating high schoolers, all different state of nursing. I've spoke to the state board of nursing on vaping and tobacco cessation. Treating long COVID patients, we still don't know a lot about that. And managing ventilators, artificial airway devices for patients who can't breathe. So the ventilator is one of the most sophisticated pieces of equipment that you'll see in the ICU, and we can manage them and troubleshoot them. And then we're always responding to emergency situations, just like on Grey's Anatomy. They say, respiratory stat to the ER. We do go and we do assess what they put on TV, and usually it isn't as accurate as in the real field. We educate patients and families about lung disease so they can maximize their quality of life too. So we do a lot of patient and family education. Where do respiratory therapists work? We work in hospitals giving breathing treatments at bedside. Our highest acuity of delivery of care is in the ICU. We work in emergency departments, and we also work with newborn to pediatric sized patients. So the youngest baby I think I've cared for is 23, 24 weeks, and it's pre-birth, like 6 months along in the mother's womb. And the oldest is probably 107 years old. We can work in operating rooms. We can work in patients' homes and deliver and educate equipment to patients' homes. We work in sleep labs, and that's about the only place I have never worked because I go to sleep by 10 o'clock. But the sleep lab is for someone that is awake all night, and patients come to a center or a lab, and our profession would monitor them while they're sleeping. So we have to stay awake while they're sleeping. Skilled nursing homes, and that's where, or long-term skilled centers like Madonna, if you've heard of Madonna. A lot of those long COVID patients have to go to places like that because They may still be on a ventilator, or they need more care before they can get home. Doctor's offices or clinics, we can work in there, especially if we have a bachelor's degree. Medicare, some insurances will reimburse the physician for our services when we meet with patients. Helicopter transportation, one of my past students from a couple years ago, two of them actually, one is in Nashville, she goes on live flights, and one is in Philadelphia. I have some cool pictures of them at night with the helicopter. They're going on a mission. And then finally, care management and telemedicine is the future. Many think that only nursing can do care management, but if you have a bachelor's, you can sit for a certification and become a care manager. Advancement opportunities, I just spoke about the last one with the care management. Wellness, coaching, and prevention is huge. And then telemedicine is coming about and is cutting edge. Traveling respiratory therapy jobs are all the talk now. So if you want to be a traveling respiratory therapist, usually you want to have a year or 2 years under your belt, because you want to have the knowledge and the skill set as a clinician. As a traveling therapist, you can go anywhere in the country, but you'll have to figure out where equipment is, things like that. But what they count on is you having a sound foundation as a clinician. Design and research. I had a student a couple years ago that was going to be an electrical engineer, and I encouraged her, because that's how her brain, thinks, to think about designing equipment for the future for respiratory patients. And research, we're highly needed in advanced research, especially with COVID. You can advance in the career ladder. You can, be a staff member and maybe become a supervisor or manager with a bachelor's. The corporate world, you can either, I think Michelle and I both know someone that, they go out and they educate hospitals on new equipment. Or you could be someone that sells hospitals new equipment. Technology is ever changing. And so again, we can play a role with new and emerging technology. Education and teaching, that's right up my alley. I love it. And most don't know, but when you want to teach, you always have to have a degree higher than what you're teaching. So what that means is if you go through this program and you earned a bachelor's, you could teach at the associate level. You would be able to do that. And then for the bachelor's, while you're in the bachelor's, in my role, I would have to have a master's or a doctorate, and I have both. So you always have to have the degree above. Another thing with respiratory therapy is you have to want to learn and learn new technology and always be constantly learning about the profession. Employment and financial outlook. So the projected median salary of RT working in the US is $62,000. But that kind of got blown out of the water with COVID. You're going to see all different salaries depending on where you live. And again, this is for the US, but to the right, you can see that this company is going to pay $20,000 of a student loan. So there are anything from, like $25 an hour to you see things $90 some an hour, just depending on the need and the part of the country you want to work. But pretty much you can pick where you want to work right now. The employment outlook is booming at greater than 23%. And truly, along with nursing, with I would say physicians, we are the unsung heroes. We're the front line. And we can't produce enough of the front line fast enough because we're in such high demand. especially with the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic and the ever evolving, the Delta, the different variants that keep popping up. Currently, there's over 220 employment openings across Nebraska and several openings in the Omaha area. And many employers are offering a hiring bonus and or student loan repayment. So they're enticing our students. Most students will have jobs promised and will be hired in January, and they graduate in May, almost every year. We have been awarded, and I'm very proud of both programs have been awarded. NMC is number 9 out of the top 42 reviewed programs for best student to faculty ratio. And then that's for the associate. And then the bachelor's was named number 11 out of the top 30 online bachelors for the best specialty. And last year we were number 27. So we've moved from 27 to number 11. And this Intelligent, if you Google it ever, they're looking at 200, 300 programs. So to be in the top percentages is very rewarding.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Fuchs. We are going to transition into how to apply for our programs. But I do want to remind you, if you have questions that you want to ask, please submit them through the Q&A or through the chat box. But we're going to move on to the admissions process. Our respiratory programs does offer different start times depending on your, if you have any transfer credits. So we'll kind of chat about that as we go along. But we do have our application is online. It is free. You do not need to pay an application fee to apply. There are including the actual application, we do require a written personal statement. We are also in the application will be answering some questions, which are a career awareness questionnaire. And what those are really giving you ideas of what is required of the positions. Like example would be, could you lift 50 pounds? Things like that, that you would need, skills you would need to be able to do in these professions. We will need official transcripts. And when I say official, I mean, that means it has to come directly from the institution. You cannot submit as a student the transcript to the college. It has to come directly from either your high school, if you have a GED official scores, as well as any college transcripts. They have to come directly from the institution. For a respiratory program, you must have a 2.5 GPA or higher to be eligible for our programs. We must have those transcripts. What we really look at too, when we're reviewing transcripts, whether it's high school or college, we do look for math and science coursework. So for those of you that may be a junior or senior high school student, I highly recommend that you continue your math and science coursework through your senior year. I know a lot of students are like, oh, I met my requirements to graduate. Don't let that slow you down. Keep going through your senior year. And then our technical standards are, again, those career questions that are asked during our application. And then just as a reminder, we do not require an ACT score for admissions, but we do have some scholarship opportunities that do require an ACT score. So we'll chat with that in just a few minutes. All right. So currently we are accepting applications for the fall of 22, which starts in August. And we also are accepting applications for a spring start, which would be January of 2023. And just to let you know that we do work with a lot of students that are bringing in transfer credit, whether they earned it in high school or they are attending another institution. We are very transfer friendly for students. There's a couple of things that you can look up to see if you have potential transfer credits. One way is on our website. There are transfer guides that you can find there if you're attending UNO, UNL, Metro. You can look up and see what classes will transfer in or will not. We also use something called Transferology. It's a website that you can also submit courses that you would like to be reviewed, and it'll let you know if we will accept the transcript or the credit or not. So that's what I do. I will really help you with those questions. And just as far as the application, we need all of the materials before we can submit it to be reviewed by our admissions committee, which means we need your written statement, we need your high school transcript, your college transcripts. All of those things must be submitted before it can be reviewed by the committee. What would make you a strong applicant for our respiratory programs? Some knowledge for you all is that everything that is submitted for the application is scored, and the highest scores are where you would be accepted for the program. And all of our programs are very competitive, so I really want you to take your time, be aware of the deadlines, the application deadlines, and just don't rush and wait till the last minute. When it comes to your written statement, just take your time again and have a couple of people to proofread it for you, because we know when we're working on a document, we sometimes think that we wrote what was in your head, but when someone else looks at it, they're like, oh, I missed that. So help yourself and ask others to take a look at those written statements. When you're working with myself, if you work with your admissions coordinator, please be responsive. If we are sending you an email asking for more information, or if we leave a voicemail for you, please get back to us as soon as possible. We are here to help you, and we can't help you if you are not communicating with us. Again, just be familiar with the admissions requirements and the deadlines. And as I mentioned earlier before about those math and science courses, they're very important to set you up for success in a healthcare program. Make sure that you turn all your materials in on time and just be active, and don't be afraid to ask questions, either of me or with Dr. Fuchs. We are always here to answer your questions, and there are no silly questions. So don't be afraid to ask. All right, we talked a little bit about transfer student checklist and about the official transcripts. Just know that if you, to transfer in credit, you have to have a grade of a C- or higher. If it's a D or an F, it is not going to transfer into the college. And also for transfer credit, it has to be a comparable course. If our requirement is a 4-hour credit hour class and you completed a 3 credit hour class, that is not equal to what we require. So be thinking about that. Again, you can find our transfer guides on our website, as well as you can jump onto the Transferology, create an account, and then submit courses that you would like to be reviewed. And I am always happy to even take a look at an unofficial transcript just to give you an idea of what courses would transfer in. And I also can make suggestions if you are registering for a semester and you're not sure what classes that you need to take. Ask. I will help you pick the right courses that would eventually transfer in to our program. And again, official transcripts must come from the original institution and be sent directly to Nebraska Methodist College. All right, scholarships. We have a variety of scholarships available, and we're going to start with our Upfront Merit Scholarships. These scholarships is not a scholarship that you apply for. We automatically award it to you based upon your GPA. You must complete a FAFSA that is attached to Nebraska Methodist College. And we highly recommend that you do that when it opens. If you're looking for a start for fall of 22, you can go ahead and start that FAFSA. If you're looking for 2023, that FAFSA will open up in October. And again, this scholarship is awarded when you are accepted, and you will receive confirmation of that as well. This scholarship is stackable with additional academic and leadership scholarships offered with the college. All right, so first-time students. Who is a first-time student? Those are our high school seniors who will be starting in the fall as a first-time college student. And the GPA requirements starts at a 3.0 with a $2,500 per year scholarship as well. If you have a higher between at a 3.3, you would bump up to $3,500 per year. And then if you have a GPA of a 3.7, that would be $4,500 per year. And just know, if you submitted your transcripts and you were sitting at a 3.0 and you had another semester coming up, and you did really, really well, and it bumped up your GPA to a 3.3, you can let us know, and we get verification of that, and we will bump you up to the next level. And this will be, once you start the college, it stays where it is. It will never go up, and it won't go down. But if you were accepted in November or December or January, and you finish the spring semester and you move up, then just let us know and we will verify that, and then we'll bump you up to the next level. If you're a transfer student, it's a little bit different for this scholarship. We start at a 3.0 for $2,000 per year, and then 3.3 jumps to $3,000, and a 3.6 or higher is $4,000 per year. And again, if you are in that situation where you had a great semester after you were accepted, and then we could take a look at that, submit those documents, and we can bump you up to the next level. All right, we are excited that we are able to offer a Nebraska Career Scholarship. This is a great one for our allied health programs, like our respiratory program. It's an award that is up to $10,000 for either transfer or first-time students, and it is renewable, which means if you were here for 4 years or you're here for 2 years, if you are awarded this scholarship, you would receive an award of right around $10,000 per year. Please note that the application will open on September 1st this fall, and it will, you must have completed that application between September 1st and February 1st. For this scholarship, you do need an ACT score of an 18 or higher on file, which means you would have to ask them to send your ACT score to Nebraska Methodist College. As well, you must also have a FAFSA on file, and it must be filed before February 1st. So that's a great opportunity. We do have additional scholarship opportunities. We kind of call this like our extra bucks. These are one-time. They are not renewable. They are one-time awards. Our legacy grant is a one-time award. If you have a sibling attending the college, or your parents were an alumni, those would allow you to do that legacy grant. And that is a part of the application. That is a question on there, but also let us know ahead of time that you are eligible for that legacy grant. The same is the United Methodist Church Member Award. We are a part of the Methodist system, and if you are an active member of a United Methodist Church, you would receive a $1,000 one-time award to be active in that congregation. And what we would need for that is just an email, either from your pastor or from your church. For our transfer students, we do offer a scholarship, a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship. It again is a $1,000 one-time award for those, and we do need to verify that. Typically, it shows up on your transfer documentation once we get your transcripts. So if any of you participated in HOSA either in high school or in a community college, we would need verification of that, and it also would earn you a $1,000 one-time award for being a part of HOSA. And if you ever have questions about these scholarships, you can definitely reach out to me and we can chat about that. All right, so cost and financial aid. The tuition for the fall of 22 is $598 per credit hour. Books, it's kind of an average. Typically in healthcare programs, once you get to those professional classes, you tend to, the books that you have for those professional classes, you will use them throughout the program. Books come around $1,300 per year, but definitely fluctuates depending on the semester. And then estimated tuition per semester is a little bit over $8,000 a year. Again, we are really proud that we don't have a lot of fees, and our fees are flat rate. We don't charge by credit hour. A lot of schools do their fees by credit hours. We do not. We do it by semester. So there's a student activity fee that includes your badge to get you on campus. We do have a health fee per semester. So if you are in classes fall, spring, and summer, there would be a fee for each semester. The same is true for our technology fee, which includes the iPad that you will receive to use while you are here on campus. And then when you first come to the college, you will receive a one-time background check as well as a one-time drug screening, and that will be required before you can start your clinicals. And then there is also a compliance check included in those fees. All right, we've talked a little bit about the FAFSA already, but it is required to receive any type of scholarship or grant from the college. If you're looking for fall, you can go ahead and get that started and use our school code of 009937. And then if you're looking into the 23-24 start, then the FAFSA will open up in October. I always like to talk about Education Quest. It's a great resource for families to help you find some additional scholarship opportunities. I highly, highly recommend that you get started over the summer if you want to start in the fall of 23. Those scholarships typically open up in the summer, and they typically, the deadlines are usually like right around January-ish, some are earlier. But Education Quest is a great source not only for scholarships, research, but it's also really, really helpful to help you walk through your FAFSA. You can meet with them in person, or you can set up a virtual session with them, but they're a great tool for you to really do some research on those scholarships. And then we also here have the FAFSA website for you, so you can just plug in that address and you can get started on your FAFSA. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about life on campus. Our respiratory program is on campus program for the first 3 years of that program. We do have a lot of supports for our students. That includes academic advising, support services, that includes just learning how to manage your time, going over testing strategies. We do offer tutoring opportunities on campus, and also some virtual options as well. I highly recommend that you participate in our supplemental instructions. These are students that have taken the classes before and were very successful, and they do run some reviews for students before testing. So they are really, really a great help. We also offer writing resources. So when it comes to all of our programs do require some reports and some research projects that will require writing. So we highly recommend that you use them, because they're very helpful and they will save you a lot of time and grief for sure. We do have on-campus counseling services. So if you or one of your classmates you feel like are struggling, or you're feeling struggling, we highly recommend using them. They're a great, great resource. We have campus security here 24/7. And they are super helpful if your car won't start, or you locked your keys in your car. They are here to help you. Our library is getting a brand new space here on campus with a lot of virtual and books, real books here to pick up, as well as some new spaces for students to study. Campus health, you will be working very closely with them when it comes to your immunizations, those background checks and drugs screens as well. And they also offer services on campus if you're not feeling well. You can go in and see them. We have a PA there that will take a look at you. Even if you have a bad headache and you need something to take and you don't have it, you can go and see them there for that as well. All right, so we're going to kind of look at some other opportunities to be involved on campus. I'm sure you've seen our mobile diabetes unit on the road in the community. Our students do participate in those when they're going out in the community. They are also a part of some community health fairs, giving vaccines, doing some testing, whether it's lead testing, those kinds of things with children. They do that as well. Lots of service projects. We do have a student government here, as well as academic clubs for each of our programs. We do have on-campus housing, and there is a housing association as well. Student ambassadors are great. It's a really fun job that you can have, which you help work with admissions and do campus tours for our interested students. So that's always a fun one. We do have an HOSA chapter here, and we do have a couple of fun weeks. Our welcome week, and the first week of classes, as well as our homecoming, which is in the fall. Oh, we have a lot to offer. I did talk a little about our housing. It is apartment style. There are 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom options. Currently, we have a wait list for fall of 22, so they are full at this time. I always recommend, if you are interested in housing, to submit your application. The application usually opens up in January. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would highly recommend that you get that started, the application started in January. We have a lot of different types of study space on campus. We have some comfy areas, as well as some individual spaces for you to study. We do offer a chapel here. We have a great coffee shop, as well as a micro market that is open 24/7. Our students have access to the pool over at the apartments. It also has a sand volleyball court and some walking trails. And then we are going to have a brand new wellness center here in probably July or August. Will open up, which will have all new exercise equipment and yoga space. And it's going to be a great space for students to really get some good exercise and some fun time in there too. All right, so Dr. Fuchs, some of these questions, we're going to start our commonly asked questions, and I and Dr. Fuchs will answer your questions if you submit any. We will get to those as well. But we are going to start with a question we hear a lot is, can I work while I am enrolled in the respiratory program?
Yes, you can work, but no more than part-time, just because it's a year-long, it's fast-paced and intense. So one, you have to be disciplined and have a good time management schedule, but I would say no more than part-time to be successful.
Great, thank you. And I think I will take the next one, and you can jump in if you want, Dr. Fuchs. Will my transfer credits shorten my plan of study? Yes and no, depending on what program that you are, if you're interested in the associate or the bachelor's. The one thing that's important with our respiratory program is that those professional years always start in the summer, which is a May start. So we have to make sure that you have all of those courses ahead of those professional classes have to be completed before you can start for that May start. So that's something that you will work closely with me and Dr. Fuchs to make sure that you are on track to have all of those courses done so that you can start that that professional year. So that professional year are your respiratory courses, and it is from May to May. So you would go through you would go through that whole 12 months to complete that, to sit for your boards. Would you like anything else to add to that, Dr. Fuchs?
I would just recommend, if you even are thinking about it, it's better to plan way ahead, just because it is May to May. Don't wait till the last minute in case there's a course that you need to take, so you can start in May. Even if it's one course, they're not always offered in the spring. So if you're interested now or in the fall, I would say get a hold of Michelle and make sure you're taking the right courses, because you could take courses, but if they don't transfer, it's not going to help you.
Right. So. Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next one is for you, Dr. Fuchs. How soon do we start clinical?
Well, in that third year, that professional year that's May to May, you will start clinical usually the first week of June, and you never go before you're ready. So we do things in the lab that you can practice and ask questions about. So when you do get to clinical, you feel more prepared.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Next question. How do you determine what is the best term to start? And it really depends on your courses, and your transfer credit. So we will definitely take a look at that and kind of map that out. So as Dr. Fuchs mentioned, the best term to start is when you have all of those prereqs done to be ready for that professional year. So the sooner, the better, for sure. All right, next question is, what are the health and compliance requirements? When you're working in a healthcare profession and working in a hospital setting or a clinical setting, there are some compliance immunizations. So you can find the list of the required immunizations for clinical. You can find that on our website, and you can also work with our campus health folks. They are super helpful. And you would submit your immunizations to what there's a system that we use for those clinicals where you will upload, create an account for Castle Branch and submit your immunization. And it's can be a little bit difficult at first, but I'll always recommend start working on your immunization records right away, because sometimes it takes you a little bit to kind of track all of them down. So the sooner the better with that as well. All right. Dr. Fuchs, is there anything else that you feel like we missed or that you want to chat about?
I just would have to say, like Michelle said, just get your compliance out of the way earlier, the better. It's not too early ever to get it done. And there might be some questions about the COVID vaccines and whatnot. And, I would let you know up front that many clinical sites are wanting students to have those COVID vaccines, because we do take care of immunocompromised patients. We take care of premature babies, and so they're at higher risk for contracting different diseases. So it's so important to have all your vaccinations done and up to date.
Perfect. All right. So now, if you have any questions for us, just go ahead and submit them. We don't have any yet in the chat or the Q&A. We'll give it a minute or so, see if we get any questions. But I do want to thank you for your time to join us tonight, and we're happy to share any information. If you have questions, you can certainly give us a call or send us an email. We will be happy to do that. So no questions. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a good evening. Thank you.